Good morning to Dr. Munira and all my fellow friends. The topic of our presentation today is about the case study of euthanasia. Before we begin the presentation, I would like to introduce myself and my next presenter. My name is Krishnaveni and the next presenter is Sashwina Priya. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the introduction part. First, we're going to start with the definition of the euthanasia. So this word euthanasia was taken from a Greek word which is eu. Eu means good, and thanatosis, which means death. So it means good death. So the word euthanasia was first used in a medical context by Francis Bacon in the 17th century to refer to an easy, painless, happy death during which it was a physician's responsibility to alleviate the physical suffering of the body. So when we look at the types of euthanasia, there is 6 types of euthanasia, which are passive, active, voluntary, involuntary, assistant, and indirect. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the laws. Okay, we know that different countries have different euthanasia laws. In that perspective, we're going to take a look at few countries. So first, we're going to begin with the Europe. Okay, euthanasia is only legal in Netherlands and Belgium, which provides certain conditions, like certain condition to meet the requirement of euthanasia. For example, the patient's request must be volunteer and well considered. Like the patient must have like suffering of physical or mentally like unbearable suffering with no prospect of relief. The patient must be informed about their situation and prospects, at least one another, independent, and the doctor must be consulted. In Belgium, euthanasia is only allowed if the patient is an adult. However, in the Netherlands, the euthanasia is allowed for the child aged 12 and 16 of the year, with the consent of their parents or guardian, and individual aged 16 and over. Assist suicide, it is actually legal in Netherlands, Switzerland, and the state of Oregon in the US, but they have certain conditions. For example, the patient must be considered competent and aware of their situations. In Japan, only passive euthanasia is permitted for the patients who have been in a coma or for more than 3 months. While in Egypt or in Islamic countries, in general, the popular Egyptians, like scholar Sheikh, recently issued a fatwa equating euthanasia with murder, but allowing the withhold of treatment that is deemed useless. In India, the Supreme Court of India has legalized the passive euthanasia. The Apex Court remarked that the judgment that the Constitution of India values the liberty, dignity, autonomy, and also privacy. So now we are going to take a look at the case study. This case study is about a single mother of a twins who is named Susie, suffering from motor neuron disease, the same disease that Steve Hawking had. So recently her condition was steadily declined and not expected to live throughout the month. So she requested her doctor, Dr. Edward, to prescribe her diamorphine for pain if she began to suffocate or choked. But unfortunately, Dr. Edward has denied her request because the diamorphine will lessen her pain, but it will also hasten or will speed up her death. So unexpectedly, she fell ill and she started to having the trouble during her breathing. So now it's like Dr. Edward facing a dilemma whether he should give Susie diamorphine, which will be part of indirect euthanasia, or he should carry out his responsibility as a doctor who follows the law.
Okay, so let's look euthanasia in various perspectives. So for this study, we are looking euthanasia in utilitarianism, deontology, religious and socio-cultural perspectives.
Okay, now we are going to look at the first perspective, which is utilitarianism. Okay, according to utilitarianism, a moral rule should be designed to produce a greatest amount of happiness for a greatest number of people. It is only dealt with pleasure and pain uses a calculation to determine what a moral rule is. The major problem with rule utilitarians and euthanasia is the rules that is always wrong to kill an innocent people. Act utility needs to be assured that euthanasia will have the best consequences in every instance when it applies. Every case involving terminally ill patients has different circumstances. Okay, and it should be properly calculated, taking all factors in account. For example, Susie is a 40-year single mother with an suffering from motor neuron disease. She's not expected to live throughout the month, and recently she falls very ill and is having a trouble breathing. So the pain that she ended up might be at the -10 by now. The pain and the progression of the disease made it impossible for her to enjoy the activities that made her life pleasurable. Earlier, she requested for diamorphine because she was worried that the pain that she gonna face during her final hours. All she wanted is to face her final hours without undergoing any pain and to die peacefully. So watching any person in pain or suffering, especially our loved one, is the most traumatic experience that we would ever felt. So according to utilitarianism, Dr. Edward should have given Susie the diamorphine so that she would be facing her final hours like without undergoing any pain, and she would be able to die peacefully. At the same time, Susie's family also could spare the pain of watching her suffer. Furthermore, her body could be donated to science to help find the cure for disease like ALS, which is like a motor neuron disease. Hence, based on this utilitarianism, the action be taken is that Dr. Edward should give Susie diamorphine as per her request for a great good for the greatest number.
Okay, so let me talk about deontological perspectives. Okay, so deontology. The word itself originated from Greek word. Deon means duty. So deontology basically keeps mainly duty as first. The actions that are obeying several set of rules, regulations, laws are considered to be ethical in deontology. The actions that are not following the rules are considered unethical. Deontology is like about principles, obligations, rules, or norms. Okay, so next thing we are looking is about Kantian ethics. Okay, Kantian ethics is like an example of practice of deontology, which was introduced by a German philosopher Immanuel Kant. So basically, in Kantian ethics, Kant believed from an ethical perspective that personhood creates a range of rights and obligations for each person, because he believed that each person needed to be treated equally. Okay. He also insisted that end would never justify the means. Although the actions of not obeying the rules could bring better consequences, happiness for everyone, but that is not ethical acting for not following the rules. So it basically means that whether it brings bad consequences or good consequences, the actions must be by the rules, must be by the laws. So duty comes first than anything. So from deontological perspective, an action that was taken should be used as universal law. A action that could be followed by everyone. For example, if one do mercy killing, then everyone can do killing. So it doesn't justify the universal law. So if one cannot follow, the action would be considered as immoral and unethical. So basically, the rules must be in accordance with the reason, logic, and then it should not give rise to contradictions. If we act according to the rules and laws, there is no necessary to be concerned about the end product, because anything that goes by the rules and laws are considered ethical relevance. So, ethical duties, when it can be applied to everyone in all situations, then it is considered to be a person's main thing to follow, and we can control the result or outcome of the action. So by applying ethical duties to all people in all situations, it can be said that the theory is readily applied to most of the practical situations that a professional could encounter. Some could say that the ontological perspective is not flexible, doesn't giving weight to the person's intentions, but reasons for all means all, and the moral law is exceptional. So what I'm trying to say is, in this particular case about the indirect euthanasia, Dr. Edward is not advised to give diamorphine to Susie, as it's against his work ethics and contradicts the authorities' rules, laws, and procedures. Instead, it should follow a complete procedure to give her the diamorphine officially. Okay, let's carry on with the religious and socio-cultural perspectives. Okay, so firstly, looking into religious perspectives, most of the religions are not approving of euthanasia. Some actually severely forbids it. All religions mention that human life is sacred, and those who become vulnerable or by illness or disability, they are considered to be given special care and love, instead of killing them from the suffering and pain. So most of the religions doesn't approve of euthanasia. There are a number of reasons why they didn't agree. For example, firstly, God has forbidden it. It is clearly stated in scriptures, holy scriptures and all that one has no rights to kill another, especially an innocent human being, whether it's euthanasia, suicide, or murder, as carrying out any of these could be against God's order. It's like we are interrupting God's plan. So it is considered an attack on the sovereignty of God. Next, it is believed that human life is special, sacred, because God has created them. Human beings are like God's image. So it is absolutely deniable that one could take another's life from suffering and pain, because God is the one who has full power on human life. Hence, human life should be protected and preserved and given full love and care, no matter what the situation is and the situation can be. Next is people. Humans have special value and their own dignity. So an ending a life violates that special value and dignity, even it's taking one's own life or even a life full of pain and suffering. That is the way we encounter to live the life. So we should appreciate and overcome, motivate ourselves instead of killing ourselves. Okay, moreover, end of life taking decision matter could be a major challenge for bioethical deliberation and political governance in this modern democracy. On the other hand, it touches upon fundamental convictions about life, death, and human condition. So this shows a multiple social cultural diversity. Initially, there were several acts and laws that prohibits or against euthanasia in those years. However, nowadays euthanasia has become one of the act in medical field, and it depends on the family, on the person, and the situation whether the euthanasia should be carried on or not. So there is a concern that there is an extreme dependency on medical professions. So they should analyze the situation and seek for other medical options first before giving euthanasia to the patients, as with family members' consent. Hence, from religious perspective, Dr. Edward should not give diamorphine to Susie. From socio-cultural perspective, it depends on the situation and the persons involved whether to give diamorphine or not. Okay, so the decision that was taking, weighing out all the perspectives, theories, that Dr. Edward should not give diamorphine to Susie as indirect euthanasia, because it contradicts many ethical theories, and it especially contradicts Dr. Edward's first work ethics. So we recommend that much more research and thoughts are needed before one can agree with the situation being in regards with euthanasia. Much more systematic procedures, laws are needed, and explanations are given to the persons involved in this euthanasia situations. So that's all from us. Thank you.